First
You want me to
glance.
stop with? Oh, first glance. I was gonna start with
First,
"He's such a twat."
first glance.
First glance.
First glance.
First glance. This is a first glance.
Avengers Twilight. Written by Chip Zdarsky, Ralph Macchio, drawn by Gregory Wright, Daniel Acuna, and Walt Simonson.
Ralph Macchio. Is that a
Yeah,
Karate Kid?
is that
Yeah,
Ralph Macchio?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
I don't remember the name from Karate Kid. Do you remember that?
The actor that plays Karate Kid. I'm looking down
Oh,
there.
I didn't
Ralph.
know. You're the casting guy.
Am I? Remember
Yeah,
that
I'm.
episode that never made it out,
Which one?
where we tried to cast X Men?
Oh, that's the one episode that we just like. We're like, this is not.
Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work without visuals. No, Ralph Macchio played Karate Kid, and I guess is the star of Cobra Kai, which you recommended to me. Who
No,
recommended to
no,
me?
not me. Never seen it.
Somebody said it was fucking amazing, and it's still churning on. So at some point,
Yeah,
I will
I've
Netflix.
I've heard that like nonstop, but then I've heard it's like
Yeah,
it's kind of cheesy, and I was like, well, I don't really want to.
it's kids in karate, and then
So have you watched it?
no. I know the premise though. It's like uh Macho and his rival kind of go back. They've grown and go back to like train at each individual dojos, but the kids aren't all right. So like they play, they're all anti, I guess. So back and forth, and then it's all tribal. But someone's like the writing's amazing, and then like the stunts are pretty cool. It's like, what more do you need? It's pretty basic.
Oh, okay,
So
right on. But we're not talking about Karate Kid.
we are
We're talking about
not.
Avengers Twilight #1. Um, this is like we were talking before I hit record. We were talking. It's got this Old Man Logan kind of vibe to it.
Yes. One last run.
Wait, oh, I thought you were gonna keep going.
No, I'm just throwing off like things that I can think of. Like I'm not dead yet. I'm still a hero at heart, even though I've kind of retired, but not really retired. But the
Yeah.
entire world has changed around them, right? Like it kind of reminded me of Shawshank Redemption, where Brooks gets out, and Brooks is the oldest like librarian dude, but he can't keep up with how the world has changed around him. So like he ends up killing himself. Sorry, spoilers. If you haven't seen Shawshank Redemption, how dare you? But that's the spoiler of many. So like it's interesting to see in this world, which is vibrant and colorful and like alive, but you have these old kind of mainstays from a bygone era, namely Steve Rogers, who doesn't really fit in the motif, which makes it so much more interesting.
Uh,
Because even if you're looking through the panels, as bright and as like shining as everything in the world is, he's often in shadow and like hunched over and kind of looks like he doesn't fit, which really helps to the narrative of I don't recognize anything I see around me anymore.
it's very grand. What's that Clint Eastwood
Turismo,
movie? No,
Turismo,
no, not Turismo. Is that no, not Gran
Turismo,
Turismo. Gran Camino.
Torino. It's a T.
Is it Gran Torino? Okay, there you go, Gran Torino. Yeah, the Clint Eastwood one where he's like old. He's just like,
Yeah, he's old and racist. Torino.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In this one, I don't know how racist Steve is, but he was born in the old days. But
I mean, he's
it's
still friends with Luke, so
yeah,
it's a good
it's
sign.
more no, it's more the you young whippersnappers growing up around me,
Yeah,
using all your new technology and new ways of life. It's cool because he's kind of like he misses. You can tell he misses being
yeah.
Captain America,
He
but
doesn't
he's
want to
like,
be forgotten,
yeah,
but he knows he can't keep up. And like
yeah,
we open up in the world, and I think it's like H Day, Hero Day. So
each
like
day, yeah.
everybody in the
We'll get to
streets
that.
is
Yeah,
dressed as a hero, and like he gets recognized. So like he gets a little like, all right, cool. Like I haven't lost it completely, but that kind of works against him as the story progresses. Like he's not the same version of himself, and as history proves, like if you don't hear about the stories, then they're lost to time. So
mm,
like a lot of his kind of great battles and wars that he's fought, it's only him that can remember it. Like the new generation barely even knows he's or was a hero. So it's interesting you see in flashbacks of him remembering his heyday and when he was fighting alongside
mm.
Iron Man and fighting alongside Iron Man and all the stuff that he got to do. But then it's a stark cut to like reality where he's an analog. He's like he doesn't fit in this new world that's being presented, and immediately he's presented with antagonist that you would think would be an ally, but no, it is not.
No, and I think you said a lot there, so we'll have to go back a bit just to kind of cover it. He's humble, right? But he also at the same time doesn't want to be forgotten, and he doesn't want all the things that superheroes have done in the past to be forgotten. So yet time is just like breaking their legends down around them because it's the future has no time. Like they don't care about superheroes anymore. Well, I mean they do care, but they're not really what they used to be, right? It's
Right. It's their version of a superhero.
yeah, like when he's out in the street and the guy's like, "Oh, you're the Captain America."
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's so good. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, like you were saying, you meet Luke Cage and Matt Murdock are in this as well. Um,
And
Captain
old
or
as
Steve,
fuck.
yeah, Steve's married to some woman named Rose. Was it
Rosa.
Rosa? Sorry.
And he can't be racist if you married Hispanic.
There you go. There you go.
And she seems younger too, so good on him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it poses you, it puts you in this situation, but it doesn't really tell you how it happened. Like, it tells you how it happened, but it doesn't give you details, right? There's H
No,
day,
yeah,
but
we're playing
something,
catch up. Yeah.
which is cool because it's like, how did we get here? How
Right.
did we get to this spot here where Steve Rogers is like wasting away and like geriatric, right? And it's like
And
H day.
forgotten,
It's
yeah.
like, what is H day? And it's, well, we learn like there's some clues. Something happened with Hulk and Ultron, and a big chunk of New York or something was just like decimated. We don't know how,
Yeah,
but we know it
eradicated.
involved those two specifically. Yeah, and they blame it on the heroes. It's like, oh, it's because Hulk went crazy. Blah 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 blah. That's all we kind of get, and then Matt Murdock gets killed. We hear that too.
Yeah, like off screen. Like we don't know the
Mm,
details of it. We just know that again, I want to talk about the antagonist a little more. There's this whole new narrative that Red Skull potentially was a double agent and working to tear down Hitler from within,
I'm
and
glad you
that's
said
like the
that.
trigger
Yeah.
point. Because that's the trigger point, right? Like that's
Mm,
kind of gets Cap out of his head to be like, oh, like that gets him flustered and like he's not calm, cool, collected. He's ready to break his nephew, his like godson. Like there's a loose family relation between him and the son of Wasp and Tony. What's this guy's
James.
name? James
Yeah.
Stark, who's now.
Named after Rhodey.
So there's going to be
Yeah.
all these interesting tie-ins, and I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to Hank, but now James runs Stark Tech, and he's now pushing this new narrative of like superheroes weren't all cracked up as we thought they were, and Red Skull could have been a hero, which is
But he wasn't. But
insane for
it's
like
yeah.
current time, right? Like it's revisionist history, right? It's all fake
But
news, and whoever gets to tell the stories gets to kind of label what happened, and that's not really what history is.
it struck me as very like that thread or that plot line strikes me as very like accurate for the times today, where it's like
Correct.
anything could just get spun on its side. It's
Yes.
like when Denzel said it to the. I love that clip. Where he's like, "It's not about who's right; it's about who says it first." And it's just like, we'll just there's no reporting news anymore. It's just like let's
No.
just stir some shit up, and let's just start this story. What if Red Skull actually was the good guy? That would in turn make who the villain, right?
Right. And
Steve.
a
And he's
slap in
like,
the face to
that's
someone
insane. Yeah,
who's dedicated his life to
yeah,
destruction of evil Nazi regime and
yeah.
as many wars as he's fought against Red Skull. For someone to be like, was he a hero? He could have been a
Yeah.
hero. And it's
And it's
like,
like
fuck you. So like he
absolutely
storms
not.
he storms out of the interview with him and James, where it was supposed to be civil, but clearly James had another ulterior
Oh,
motive.
he was pressing buttons for sure. Yeah, it
Yes,
was a
and
lot.
then you
It was a live conversation they're having.
I love that they use that as a catalyst of like when he starts to get too agitated and angry, like his adrenaline starts pumping, and then he starts flashing back to, I guess, the event. I'm just gonna call it the event to this point because we don't know what it is, and you get
Yeah,
little touch
H
tones
days.
of
Yeah,
like when they're all together, right? Because from what we see, the team back then was Cap, Tony, She Hulk, Natasha, but live on location, they're already picking up pieces of. I don't want to give it away because I really enjoy the story. Another fallen major
hmm
superhero, right? And
hmm
he was very much about like, hey man, like I got to save who I need to save, but you got to save them if I'm gone, and you got to protect my identity, right? And like Tony makes a mention to say like our identities are fried now, like we're in it. So whatever happened during that event was so traumatic that it kind of shaped and shaped the landscape of what the MCU is today in this current time frame of what the comic is. So I thought that was super ingenious and interesting.
And that whole angle gave me like Watchmen vibes too, because it's like throwback to how they used to be, but now here we are, and we're like old and broken. It's not even like Steve has a bad life either. It's just not what he's used to, and the
Used to, yeah.
world has changed. The world has changed so much. He's uncomfortable in it.
And to piggyback off your Watchmen theory, there's a little bit of who will watch the Watchmen, and Big Brother is now taking over
Mhm.
because you get those kind of militant police in the streets, and apparently the city's on curfew now, and they're ready to go beat up some skateboard kids
Mhm.
until Cap's like, not going out like that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He almost gets smoked by some goons.
That's what it gave me a little like Harry Brown sort of
Yeah.
feels there, which is a low key, high key recommendation if you haven't seen the movie from Michael Caine, where he's an octogenarian. He's kind of pushed out, and he's like, "I'm not going to take it anymore," and decides to like fight back. But like, really well done. So I really
Yeah,
hope
I
they
think I have seen
keep
that
going
movie
with this
actually,
series.
but I forget it. I'll have to watch it again.
It's
Sounds
it's due
familiar.
for a rewatch because you don't expect it from him,
Yeah,
and then what they actually do with it, it's pretty grimy. I
pretty
definitely
cool.
enjoyed
Huh?
it.
Yeah, I don't. I remember it. Sounds familiar, but I don't remember anything. So I'll have to
Yeah, no.
go back to that. But yeah, this is the first. This is a short series. Oh, the ending too. The ending. Um,
There's the ending, and then there's the that little conversation that James has with such and
that's what
such,
I'm
which
talking
I
about.
also
Yeah,
don't
that's
want to
what I'm
give
talking
away.
about.
Okay,
Well,
okay, okay.
why we're spoiling everything here? This is. Well, I mean, it's first glance, but we're gonna do each
First glance, we don't
issue.
spoil though, right? So I don't know
Okay, I'll
who's
tell you
getting
what,
them in
because
first.
we've already spoiled some things, but so for this one, because it's the first
About
one,
Shawshank Redemption.
for the first for the first one, we won't spoil it. But from when we do like when we do the rest of it, because we're gonna first
Yeah,
glance them all,
yeah.
we'll spoil all those. But this one we won't
And it's
spoil. But
a second one already dropped, and I was really tempted to
yeah,
like go in. So I went to
yeah,
go check the cover, and I was like, "Go gonna be mad if I read ahead." So I probably won't. So I
yeah,
did it,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
ready to.
It just
But yeah,
came out this week. Yeah.
yeah. After today, where you getting all the bumps and
Hmm.
bruises and bloody, and everybody's always bloody. Like everybody always
Yeah,
looks beat
yeah,
up,
yeah,
which I appreciate about this world.
yeah,
It's so shiny and bright, and it's got all of those. What's the Abrams? The solar flares. Like you see solar flares all over the
yeah,
place, right? Like there's just things are screens, so you can feel like it's a
yeah,
future. But because we're going through the eyes of Captain America, you instantly feel like you don't belong in this world because he doesn't feel
yeah,
like he belongs in this world. So he's picking up the pieces and he's got to do it fast. So whatever drug they're pouring on this comic, man, as a first glance, and there's a
yeah.
Defenders reference, which is amazing, right? Like
Yes, yeah,
that's a whole other thing. Oh man, I'm going off.
yeah. So what we got? We have a little bit Watchmen, a little bit Old Man Logan, a little bit Harry Brown, a little bit out Gran Torino,
A little bit Captain America.
a little bit Captain America, a little bit modern times. Like
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
very cool.
Even you could even say a little bit Last Ronin, just the way with how it's Tony's son who's now like the king of or the head
Yeah,
honcho, right?
and it looks like I think if we're placing guesses out here, because I think that's what we're gonna end up doing. It's just I'm gonna ask you what you foresee this comic to like head, but I definitely hope there's some sort of I got to get in the building and I got to work my way up to the top because that's where the big
Hmm.
boss is. It's an old trope, but I love it when it's done right.
Yeah,
And to see this man with a shield, just like oh I got my juice back, just work his way up a fucking skyscraper, I think it'd be incredible.
yeah,
But
it's gonna be
no
dope,
man,
man. I'm looking forward to
so
it.
far so good. And then
Yeah.
there's a couple of those defenders have like Moon Knight hoods, which I noticed. Like, there's a little dip there. I don't know if I'm getting any Moon Knight. I don't know if he was an actual defender. But listen, we got Matt Murdock, Luke Cage, and Steve Rogers off the jump. Right? They
Hmm.
already referenced Pym, Starks, kind of Rhodey, She Hulk,
Wasp.
Natasha, Wasp. So like Hulk, this could be a real fun who's who of how they survived or how they didn't. And then the big spoiler of like who actually got killed in the battlefield. I guess you could spoil it now if you really wanted to, but
No, we'll talk.
I
We'll
was
talk
I
about
was
it.
in the next issue if it
We'll just
comes back.
recap
But
and be
like,
like, oh, so in the first issue, this happened and this happened.
yeah, this could be a good series that we end up having to do a kill count of any major players that we love in current time.
Yeah.
Because assuming that Hulk didn't survive whatever the event is, he's dead.
Yeah, so
But
we'll see you
no,
back
no,
for issue 2.
Yeah, we doing it. Aventus. First Galantis.
No, first Galantis. No,
First
Eventus is only
Galantis.
for events. We have too
This,
many too many
bro, I
formats.
think we turned this into an event though. Like
There
he
might be,
calls
yeah.
Rosa, is like, "Yo, hey, girl, I'm be gone for a week, but I'm
Yeah,
getting
yo,
shit
that's
done."
gangster. Eh? He's just like, yeah. By the way, don't. By the way, by the way, don't wait up. And then he's out there
Oh,
like, then he just
bro,
gets into the, yeah,
and they show the days going off the calendar, and he's just getting
yeah.
bigger, getting swole, and then the
And
final
you know he's
that
happy. You know he's happy.
that final panel where it's just like, I'm gonna assemble, and I was like, oh, you see his costume and then him swole. I was like, bro, can't wait. So yeah, man.